Good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is Anna McClatchy, and I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak to you about an important issue, which is the loose application process of Running Start. The requirements set in place for applying to Running Start do not fully ensure that those signing up are emotionally prepared for college. I'm a junior at Olympia Regional Learning Academy, and I'm a first-year student as a Running Start student at SPSCC. Myself, as well as multiple of my friends, have first-hand experience of being a part of this program. Today, I'd like to discuss with you my concern for high schoolers who are experiencing the added stress of Running Start, and they're not emotionally ready, and how this can be prevented by adding more requirements to the application process. SPSCC Advisor Michelle Hanley states, "Just because a student is academically ready for college does not mean that they're socially or emotionally ready for it." I'll use an example of my friend. She's a senior at Orla, Olympia Regional Learning Academy, and she, before being a part of Running Start, had a stressful experience in high school, keeping up with assignments, having her grades stay up there, passing classes, and also keeping up with the high school graduation requirements. When she applied for Running Start, she was accepted, but that overall added additional stress to her plate, and she sadly is experiencing some depression and taking medication for it. While I'm not aware of the specific reasons why she signed up for Running Start, it probably wasn't the best decision for her mental health. Now, I'd like to present some scientific evidence before I move on to my proposal for an action to be taken. According to GJEL Accident Attorneys, Frontiers for Young Minds, and Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, teens' brains are not fully developed until at least age 25. Specifically, the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed in teens, and that's involved in reacting to emotional stress. So teens are biologically, their brains are not developed enough for them to be able to cope with stress fully. And in some cases, that stress can lead to depression. But what's most important, and probably what you're asking right now, is how this can be avoided. Now, I'd like to acknowledge what SPSCC is already doing to try to ensure that Running Start students are ready for the transition between high school and college classes. They have orientation and NSAR sessions, verification forms that have to be signed by the high school counselor, and they have placement tests that show where you place in English 101 and what math you place in. But these aren't fully solving the problem because they're only looking at the academic part of this, and they do not fully ensure that that student signing up is emotionally prepared for college classes and the college environment. What I'm proposing is adding more requirements when applying to Running Start, specifically requiring at least 2 recommendation letters. These recommendation letters can be written by the parent or guardian, a high school counselor, or a teacher. These recommendation letters will consider how this team manages their time and how they can cope with stress to see if they're ready for that college transition to the college environment. And the reasoning to having these specific people write these recommendation letters is because they would be the people who know how that team can react to stress, how they manage their time when they're outside of school, how they react to stress inside of school. And it doesn't require additional work for SPSCC staff besides making sure this is completed. So it is an easy addition to the application process. As you've heard now, many students sign up for Running Start not emotionally prepared for the transition between high school and college classes. And they suffer mentally because of it, sometimes even having depression because of the added stress. I encourage you to avoid this by adding an extra step to the application process. Requiring recommendation letters will help us bring in students that are ready for the college environment, and it can reduce the chances of high school students experiencing too much stress. Now, since I have some time before I close off, I'd like to mention our SPSCC's strategic plan. Under goal number 2, under Inspire Teaching and Learning Excellence, it states, our students acquire the educational and professional skills they need to thrive in the world beyond the classroom. If we want to make sure that our students can thrive in the world beyond the classroom, then we need to also make sure that they're ready to be in the classroom in the first place. Thank you for your time, members of the board. I hope you take this issue into serious consideration.